I was quite pleased to see a third of the co-driver field at this event is female, and as your Canadian Women in Motorsport representative, I'm definitely happy to see the participation of women growing in rally, and I definitely want to see more of that going forward.
Oh, sorry.
I am Leanne Junnila. I am the Canadian delegate with the FIA Women in Motorsport Commission. I am the founder of Women in Motorsport Canada, and I am a rally co-driver. One of the things that brings me the most joy, that I would say I feel accomplished about, is when people say that they've gotten involved in motorsport because of my efforts. So I find that really rewarding. You are able to pursue the things you want to pursue. Like, it's at that point, it's not about racing, it's about inspiring girls and women to just be what they want to be. I have been a rally co-driver for just over 20 years, since I was pretty young, and the way I got started was when I got my driver's license. I was not very confident on the road because they spend a lot of time around here anyway teaching you how to parallel park, how to stop for stop signs, basically how to park and how to stop, and not actually how to drive. And so they handed me my license and I was like, okay. And so I was looking around for clubs or places I could go on cruises with other people just to sort of practice and get comfortable behind the wheel. And I was Googling, and I found the Calgary Sports Car Club.
Organized by the Calgary Sports Car Club, will teach new competitors the exciting sport of car rallying.
And I contacted their president and I said, hey, what do you guys do? And they said, we go racing, you should try it. And I said, I am a university student, I cannot afford that. And they said, yes, you totally can. We have this series called Autocross where you just take your daily driver, your regular car out, we'll loan you a helmet. At the time, it cost $20 for an entry fee. And we set up cones in a parking lot in a little course, and you just try to drive the course as quickly as you can, and there's only one car out there at a time. And so I thought, okay, that's perfect. So I tried that and I totally loved it. Like, it was just super fun to rip around my little car, rip around this course as quickly as I could. And I got totally hooked. I did every race they had that year. We had a racetrack in Calgary at the time, and so I started volunteering at the racetrack and, learning how to be a flag marshal for the road course cars. And then from my time there, this guy named Eric asked if I wanted to try rallying, and I said, sure, that sounds interesting. And there are a bunch of different types of rally, so at that time, he was asking if I wanted to try a TSD rally, which is a time, speed, distance rally, which is not flat out speed that I'm used to doing. We tried that, and he was driving and I was navigating. So in TSD, you're called a navigator, and in the fast rallies, you're called a co-driver. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, to try and be a navigator in a TSD rally. And it was fun, and it was just really cool to see the teamwork between the two people and how it all worked, and how you had to communicate with each other and work together to get through the route. And so again, like, I got hooked on that, and And so Eric and I became a team, and then we became a team in life, and we're still together today. And so we built a rally car for the speed rallies together and started doing those. And while he was working on building the car, there was another team, another driver that actually asked me to co-drive for him in his rally car. He was the perfect mentor because he showed me the ropes, and he was able to teach me what to do in the co-driver's seat. So he was just a great mentor, so that when Eric had finished building our rally car, then I was much more ready to sit in that seat. I started getting asked by teams in the US if I wanted to co-drive for them. That's how I first got connected with Team O'Neill Rally School. They were supporting some drivers back then, and that's ultimately how I met my teammate Dave.
You
know what? Everyone says that, and when I got stung by a wasp, I was doing this.
Wasps are different. Wasps are different things.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was this up-and-coming driver out of Ohio. We've been a team since 2016, so we just gelled really well. It was a really great sort of matchmaking from Team O'Neill to connect us and introduce us. If I'm trying to describe what rally is to someone, usually you just say it's like racing on forest roads with two people in the car. One's a driver, one's a co-driver. And when you're at a racetrack, there's only ever a driver because they can memorize the corners. There's not that many. But in rally, you're doing 1,000 turns once instead of a dozen turns 1,000 times. And so you need someone next to you in the car to be able to say what's coming up and say it at exactly the right pace so that the driver has enough time to react to what's coming up, but not too early so that they forget what's coming up in front of them. So it's a very sort of close, precise relationship when you're on a stage. So our routine in the car before we start is always really consistent. Our movements are always the same. At 30 seconds, Dave closes the door, and then I give him a countdown that is 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And at 10 seconds, he puts the car into gear and starts the launch control, holds the e-brake, and then we go.
10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Our numbering system goes from 1 to 6, where a 1 is a tight hairpin and a 6 is almost straight. And then we have pluses and minuses, which represent the sort of in between grades between the corners. So you sort of have 18 different grades of corner. So the notes always come out as the number plus or minus, the direction, and then the distance to the next corner. And when the co-driver's reading the notes, they usually finish a sentence with a distance so that the driver knows how much distance they have after the corner before the next thing is coming up.
Into 3 plus right down, 20, turn left 2, 80, 6 left junction, chicane.
And then you can add extra information as you're going through. So if something's sharp or if it's rough or, just sort of extra descriptives to warn the driver of any hazards in that particular corner.
4 plus right, 30, flat left over crest, 30, brake, turn.
The ultimate goal is for him to only have to think about driving. So I'm looking after absolutely everything else as much as I can so that when he gets in the seat and, tightens his belts and we say go, the only thing he has to think about is what's coming up next on the road. and I'm trying to look after everything else. And if something happens, if we go off or if we have a problem, they're usually looking to the co-driver to sort of make those split-second decisions. Co-drivers primarily are there to read a detailed description of the road, every corner, every bump, every crest during the timed stage sections in a rally, but we also have a multitude of other jobs. So before an event happens, I do the logistics planning. So I do all the fuel calculations so they know how much fuel to bring and to order. And then we look at the road conditions to try and guess what type of tires to bring and just sort of plan out all of the movement of the team to get to the event. And then in between, when the rally starts, in between the time stage sections, there are transits where we're driving under the speed limit on regular roads to get in between each of the stage sections of roads. And so it's my job to get us from place to place, get us through the stage so that the driver always knows what's coming up next. And then after the event, we sort of look at, we have a debrief and do a report. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So what you see in those little onboard snippets on camera is just such a small portion of what actually goes into the event.
Let's go, this tech form ready.
You might be getting a sense that there's a lot of different types of rally. There's TSD rallies, there's stage rallies, there's rally raids. There's also something called a Targa rally, which is another different type of rally, which Dave and I competed in for the first time in September. And we had just heard about it. Both of us had heard about it through our time in motorsport, and it was just something that Dave had wanted to go and do for years. And so we went, and it's different because it sort of has 1 foot in circuit racing and 1 foot in rally racing. It's on all paved roads. Some of them are sort of highways and some of them are twisty town roads. It's about staying above a minimum base time for a particular time section, but not going over a particular average speed, and you're limited by your top speed. So in our class, we were not allowed to exceed 140 kilometers per hour, and we were not allowed to go over 180 kilometers per hour top speed. There's trackers in the car, and the rally net is watching the trackers, and if you exceed the average or the maximum speed, you get a penalty. And the roads get progressively quicker and quicker as each day goes along, and then on the last day, you're not supposed to be able to beat any of the base times. Everyone's getting penalized because you just can't keep up with the pace. At this particular event, because it's a Targa style event, I have an extra, I've got my iPhone set up with some extra timing information, which we wouldn't normally have. We would normally have what's called a rally safe unit in the car. So depending on the type of rally and the event, your computing equipment can be different. So inside the car, the steering wheel is removable because the roll cage makes it tough for the driver to get out of. So he's got a little clip on the back of the steering wheel, and he just takes it off before he gets in and out of the car, which is also a great security measure because a lot of rally cars don't lock. And there's like a micro SD card in the rally car, and every time we go back to service, the mechanic will take it out and look at all the telemetry info and make sure that the car is working right, and they're able to see all the inputs that Dave is putting into the car, when he's accelerating, when he's braking. You get a lot of information out of the car to be able to improve or look at how your performance is compared to someone else, and you're able to review all of that data between events. And then in the center console, there's sort of a control panel there, and there are things like our accessory rally lights that are controlled there, the fire suppression system. So the big red button is if you're on fire, press that button. And if you're not on fire, definitely do not press that button. And there are, the other lights, the different levels of anti-lag are there. The control for my map light is on there. And then behind my legs is a fire extinguisher. And then we have another fire extinguisher in the back. So there's a lot of systems in place to deal with fire. When we're out on the rally roads, because the cars are all 1 minute apart, if something happens, we are our own first responders. So we have a lot of safety gear in the car to kind of deal with problems if they come up. And all the gear is fire retardant material. So we've got 3-layer Nomex suits. The balaclavas are made of Nomex, as are his gloves, and then we've got long underwear that we wear underneath that's also made of Nomex. And then our shoes are fireproof as well. And the seats have a whole bunch of padding on them and those sort of wings that wrap around. It's called a halo, so you'll often hear people talking about halo seats, and how, depending on how tall you are, it can be tough to look side to side and see properly. But they do keep your head from knocking around side to side, because we drive on some pretty rough roads sometimes, and I actually do have my head bouncing off the side of the halo pretty regularly. One of the really cool highlights about Targa that they do really well is they really create a sense of camaraderie. And I mean, you're spending, the trip was 10 days total, so 6 days of racing and 2 days of pre-event, and so you really get to know everyone at the event quite well. And so they really do a great job of creating a sense of camaraderie and having lots of social opportunities, and I really appreciated that. Like, I really still keep in touch with a bunch of the competitors. We're still on a group chat, and there's just a lot of silly banter that goes back and forth all the time. So they do a great job of that, and you get a really cool mix of cars that you would never normally be exposed to at a regular rally, whereas I'm used to just seeing all rally cars all the time. At Targa, you get race cars and street cars and just touring cars. They have some classes where it's not really competitive, you're just touring around the route, and there was a rental car that showed up, so it's just a really wide range of cars and drivers and experience, and so it makes for a really unique event. At the Targa this year, Dave and I ended up beating almost every base time, which was great. We weren't sure how that was going to go, and then on the very last stage, which is called Brigus, which is quite famous, we ended up setting the course record and we won the event overall. So it was it was just a great way to finish the week, and the vibe was really great in the town, and everyone was excited to see the cars come through. It had been a few years since the event happened, and so we were just really proud to come to this event that was sort of a bucket list item on our lists for so many years, and then win the event and set the course record on this famous, really tight and twisty, fun stage. So it was just a really rewarding way to cap off the event. What are some of my aspirations? Competitively, I really want to try a rally raid, which is it's like a desert style race, like when you see the Dakar rally on TV, for example. You're co-driving, but you're using topo maps and waypoints rather than co-driving on roads. Right now, my experience has always been rallying on roads, whereas rally raids is just open land. And then for Women in Motorsport Canada to just keep growing and to be able to inspire more women to get into motorsport and have more programs in place to sort of boost women up as they get interested in the sport. When WIM Canada started, there were two things that I sort of had in mind. One was to support the community that's already there, and then the other one was to try to get new people interested who maybe didn't know anything about motorsport, because it's more of a niche sport here. You go to other countries and racing is huge, and in Canada it's more fringe, I would say. And so to support the community that already existed, I had the idea of making a bunch of Women in Motorsport Canada sew-on patches for everybody's driving suits. So I had a friend start building a database of trying to figure out where all of the motorsport clubs in Canada are, all the different genres of motorsport. Who are they? We started reaching out to all the clubs that we could find and asking if they would like to buy a patch for every woman in their club. So we could send them around, and then if you show up at a race in another province, if I go racing in Quebec, I can go, hey, oh, you've got one too, oh cool, and then we start to try to create a sense of community amongst all these women who we're so geographically dispersed in Canada. We're a bit of a creative lab, and we like to test what works and what doesn't, and people come with ideas, and I'm very open to just trying different types of events and seeing what works and what doesn't. So we're trying to grow. We have a website now. We're trying to grow that, grow our presence on social media, apply for more grants for different types of projects. We did a networking event earlier this year in Calgary, which was really successful. So we want to do more of those. We've started doing some job shadows at major motorsport events in Canada, where we can try and support women who are already in STEM, following STEM pathways to motorsport engineering, for example. Trying to get women involved at the grassroots level who don't know anything about motorsport, and then try to boost up women who are already involved and try to, help them and push them as far as they can get in the sport. It's almost not so much about motorsport specifically, it's about girls and women just having the confidence to really be interested in something and pursue it, even though it might be male dominated, or it might be something that seems intimidating or seems like they don't belong, or their particular club doesn't have any women in it, but they go out and they do it anyway because it's interesting. It's like being able to put that sort of societal pressure of feeling like you don't fit in aside, so that you are able to pursue the things you want to pursue. Like, it's at that point, it's not about racing, it's about inspiring girls and women to just be what they want to be. Don't be afraid to try it. If you think it sounds cool and looks cool, just try it. Like, you don't have to be, everybody belongs in motorsport if you want to be there.